I spent almost a year in this beautiful country. And a lot of the beauty I see, I honestly attribute to Russia's intuitive ability to believe. They share a devout belief in goodness that's reflective in all of their greatest novels. They share a belief in beauty and its importance that leads everyone to awe at their masterpieces, their ballerinas, their plays, their galleries. We're in a world that seems like it's gone crazy and people are labeling down up and up down, where father is pit against son, where science is put against religion. Russia has somehow found a way to inspire man to a deeper understanding of himself and therefore an understanding of God. As one of the most Christian countries on earth, Russia is no doubt home to countless cathedrals and monasteries dressed in all three of these qualities. But only 2 hours north of Moscow lies something that most of the world is probably unfamiliar with. It's the very heart of Russia's belief, their very own Vatican City. Sergiev Posad is only a short drive northwest of the capital, and it's considered not only one of the largest monasteries in the entire country, but it's also the spiritual center for Russian Orthodoxy. This largest branch of the Orthodox Christian faith today claims over 110 million adherents officially, and it's spread well beyond the borders of Russia, with only 95 million actually being inside the country. And I, to my great fortune, get to travel not just there. Before I go to the monastery, I need to stop by a site of pilgrimage that many people unfortunately don't get to see. Not so much because it's hidden, it's just sadly because of the obscure path it takes to get there and the lack of public infrastructure. I had the benefit of having access to a car on this hot summer day. So that's where we decided to go first on our travel to Sergiev Posad, the Gremyaichii Waterfalls. Gremyaichii is the largest and most famous waterfall in the Moscow region, which isn't saying much based on its size. Moscow is a very flat region after all, but the thing that speaks much louder is its origin. According to legend, Saint Sergius, the founder of the Trinity Lavra, and one of the greatest saints of Russia, prayed to God on top of this very mountain. As an answer to his prayer, God burst forth this waterfall that now claims the power to heal. You can actually climb this long staircase to the point where he prayed, and the spring actually flows from there. If you're interested in seeing the exact spot that it happened, there's a monument to Sergius at the top that you can't miss. The site boasts many unique wooden structures around the complex, with a handful of chapels and fonts, and even stands to purchase empty water bottles. Now why, you might be asking yourself, would anyone want to purchase an empty 5-liter bottle? And that's a great question, because this water isn't just meant to be appreciated for its aesthetic value. This site actively invites you to partake of its ancient history right here and right now. You can strip right down to your skivvies and jump in one of its numerous fonts. It's open to the public, it doesn't cost any extra money, and many people have different rituals, from submerging themselves once or 3 times in honor of the Trinity, while others merely just cross themselves and take a quick dive. Whatever your style of partaking is, you can also just grab your own empty water bottle and fill up some of this water to bring home. According to the babushka at the water bottle stand, it's great for exorcisms, home blessings, or cooking. So I, of course, being the curious cat that I was, had to join in the spiritual fun.
Oh, it looks clean. Будь здоров. Oh, it has an interesting taste. It tastes like the forest. Deer pee. Whew. All right, gonna add some more from this spring. one's a lot colder. Pretty nice. That one's actually very nice. Less wood particles.
But the fun was short-lived, as I learned that the water actually contains a very small amount of radon. I don't know how much radon there is, but just to be safe, we decided to stop drinking it and just enjoy the site for its beauty the rest of our trip.
Dry them all and make a It's not that bad.
It's not that bad. Alright, I was told this is stinging nettle, if you guys don't know about it, and it actually shoots needles at you if you touch it. So I was told to touch a part of my body that I don't care about and to see if it hurts. I didn't feel anything. Oh, I feel it now. Oh, it got me. Ooh. Alright, I'll give you guys an update.
Our final stop was this little chapel they have all the way at the end of the walking route. And it's cool on its own. It's done in that traditional wooden style, but the story behind it, we only found out from an old piece of wood laying against one of its back walls. And that story made us realize the heart of the people who run this city.
Strange faces, like nobody knows who did that. God, please forgive us, because they don't know what they're doing.
Oh, wow.
Sergiev Posad, please pray to your God for us.
So it was built in 97. And 2000, 3 years after, someone came and purposely burnt it down.
Mm-hmm.
And this is them asking for God to have mercy on that person that did it, because they don't know what they do.
As we said goodbye to this wonderful place with a couple full bottles of irradiated holy water, we set off for our main area of interest, the Trinity Lavra, the Vatican of Russian Orthodoxy. The monastery was founded in 1337 by St. Sergius Rodinej, arguably the most venerated saint of Russia. He was a saint of saints for the Russian people. He founded over 400 of the now 900 monasteries in the country by himself. He was a sort of spiritual invigorator, changing the lives of everyone he met and inspiring them to an intense faith, a spiritual closeness with God. In fact, many major historical sites around the country are connected to him in some way. Like the Kulikova field, where Sergius sent 2 of his schema monks, which are the highest ranking monks of Orthodoxy and weirdly enough, the most black metal looking ones to boot, to fight off the Crimean Tartarians, which are like Mongolian hordes in the 12th century, which brought about the slow freedom of the country. He was declared the patron saint of the Russian state in 1422 and is buried inside the complex at the Trinity Cathedral, the oldest visible area of the monastery.
Looks like we have my first encounter with St. Sergei, holding the... Oh, I think this is also Andre Rublev. He has the Trinity Icon, which we're going to see today.
Even the most famous icon of all time, the Holy Trinity, by the most famous icon painter of all time, Andre Rublev, is here. I've been to Orthodox churches all over the world, and I've seen this icon in almost every one of them. So seeing the original is frankly unbelievable. And on top of that, if you're a history buff and interested, the most famous Soviet director, Andrei Tarkovsky, made a movie about this monk. It's free on YouTube, and if you want, it's a really beautiful watch. I highly recommend it. The Lavra is even the historic seat of the Patriarch of Moscow, the sort of Pope of Russian Orthodoxy, if you can call it that. At least up until the revolution, when in 1920 it was nationalized from the church and only returned during Stalin's temporary tolerance of the church in World War II. Then the Patriarch was brought back and lived here until 1983 when he was moved to Moscow proper.
this place is huge. This is crazy. So we're first, Trinity?
And one of the hidden gems that I always recommend for people to check out here is the clock tower. Sure, its iconic architecture juts out in the city and it's one of the first things you see as you're driving up. But as a bonus, at the base it houses a giant icon store and it's the perfect place for you to grab your souvenirs. On top of that, most of the buildings here were added by order of the most famous people of Russia, including Ivan the Terrible, Peter the Great, and even Catherine the Great. It's like a museum of everything I've been filming for months, culminated all here in one location. Truly an aspiring filmmaker's paradise. Looking at Sergiev Posad in 2022, it's almost identical to the photographs that you'll see from over 150 years ago. And I'm sure it's almost identical to the paintings 200, 300, 400 years prior to that. It's like looking back in time to a place that you only read about in Tolstoy or Dostoevsky, but somehow it still lives in more than just the pages of history. Even going back and editing this video, it brought me back to many of the lingering thoughts I had when I left there, most of them still yet unresolved. This must truly be one of the most ancient faiths still persisting in our modern secular times. And how is that so? How is it in a world that wants to squash faith and belief? Has this place stood the test of time? How is a place that is so unlikely to make it, from being sacked by Mongolians, reinvented by monarchies, and crushed by communists, somehow still not just barely alive, but vibrantly living in the full radiance of its former splendor? Its vibrancy springing forth from a city like a fountain from stones. It really makes you believe in miracles. And I really think that's one of the greatest gifts St. Sergius received on top of that mountain. A deep belief in the miracles of God. Have a good week, everyone. Love hard, love deep, and I'll see you next week. Bye-bye.